right, good evening, everyone. My name is Guion Foreman, President of the Police Board, and I am calling the board's February 24th public meeting to order. In order to protect the public's health in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is taking place remotely. Pursuant to the Illinois Opens Meeting Act, I have determined that holding this meeting in person is not practical or prudent. The city of Chicago remains subject to the governor's disaster proclamation due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the disease continues to be a threat, especially to the unvaccinated and people with certain health conditions. We are therefore having this meeting remotely this month. This meeting is open to the public via audio and video conference and is being carried live by CAN TV. Members of the public are on mute in order to reduce background noise and disruptions. We have a court reporter making a transcript of this meeting. In addition to the police board members, we have several city officials here with us this evening. I will begin by taking attendance so it is clear who is participating in this meeting. Please say here after I read your name. Police Board Vice President Paula Wolf.
Here.
Board Member Stephen Block.
Here.
Board Member Mariley Cusack.
Here.
Board Member Nanette Doorley.
Here.
Board Member Michael Eady.
Here.
Board Member Steve Flores.
Here.
Board Member Jorge Montes.
Here.
And Board Member Andrea Zopp.
Here.
Chief Administrator, Chief Administrator is not here today. In place of Chief Administrator for COPA, we have Jay Westensee. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Jay
Thank you.
In place of the superintendent this evening, we have First Deputy Eric Carter.
Here. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Acting Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety, Nathaniel Wackman.
Here.
Chief of Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs, Yolanda Talley. Chief of Bureau of Patrol, Brian McDermott.
Here.
Chief Rahman Muhammad.
Here.
Assistant General Counsel to the Superintendent, Scott Spears.
Here.
And Executive Director of the Police Board, Max Caproni.
Here.
Thank you. We will now proceed to the items on the meeting agenda. We will have time at the end of the meeting for public comments. Once again, members of the public are on mute in order to reduce background noise and disruptions. When we get to the public comment portion of the meeting, we will unmute each speaker. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the board's January 20th regular public meeting?
Paula Wolf, so moved.
Michael Eady, second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Our next public meeting will be held on Thursday, March 17th at 7:30 p.m. Whether this will be an in-person meeting or a remote meeting will be determined close to the meeting date. Is there a motion to close a series of executive sessions for the purposes of considering personnel matters and litigation as authorized by sections 2C1, 3, 4, and 11 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act?
So moved. Paula Wolf.
Second. Michael Eady.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. A report of disciplinary actions taken by the board during the previous month has been made available on the board's website. There are 2 disciplinary cases on the agenda this evening. The police board, as authorized by the Open Meetings Act, has considered in a closed meeting 2 police disciplinary cases. The board will now take final action on these cases. Regarding case number 21-PB-2989, is there a motion to find police officer Livius Tomescu guilty of conduct unbecoming an officer and making a false statement, and to discharge him from the Chicago Police Department?
Paula Wolf, so moved.
Michael Eady, second.
Thank you. I will now call on members of the board for their votes. Wolf,
Aye.
Block,
Aye.
Cusack,
Aye.
Doorley,
Aye.
Edie,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Montez,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
and I vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Block, Cusack, Doorley, Edie, Flores, Montez, Zop, and myself. The motion passes by a vote of 9-0. Is there a motion to adopt the written findings and decisions that have been reviewed by all board members who participated in the case?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Regarding case number 21 PB 2992, the superintendent filed charges against Sergeant Eduardo Beltran, recommending that he be discharged from the Chicago Police Department for bribery and approving a false report. The superintendent subsequently moved to withdraw these charges without prejudice because Beltran resigned from the Chicago Police Department. Is there a motion to grant the superintendent's motion?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
I will now call on members of the board for their votes. Wolf,
Aye.
Block,
Aye.
Cusack,
Aye.
Doorley,
Aye.
Edie,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Montez,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
and I vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Block, Cusack, Doorley, Edie, Flores, Montez, Zop, and myself. The motion passes by a vote of 9-0. The written decisions in this case on which the board took final action this evening will be entered as of today's date and sent to the parties, then posted on the board's website. The police board also considers appeals by applicants for a Chicago police officer position who have been removed from the eligibility list due to results of a background examination. There are several appeals on the agenda this evening. The police board, as authorized by the Open Meetings Act, has considered in a closed meeting several appeals from applicants for Chicago police officer position who have been removed from the eligibility list due to the result of a background exam and will now take final action. Regarding appeal number 21AA02, is there a motion to not adopt the appeals officer's findings, conclusions, and recommendations, and to reverse the decisions to disqualify the applicant?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
I will now call on members of the board for their votes. Wolf,
Aye.
Block,
Aye.
Cusack,
Aye.
Doorley,
Aye.
Edie,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Montez,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
and I vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Block, Cusack, Doorley, Edie, Flores, Montez, Zop, and myself. The motion passes by a vote of 9-0. Is there a motion to adopt the written findings and decision that have been reviewed by all board members who participated in the case?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Regarding appeal number 21AA05, is there a motion to adopt the appeals officer's findings, conclusions, and recommendations and to reverse the decision to disqualify the applicant?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
I will now call on members of the board for their votes. Wolf,
Aye.
Block,
Aye.
Cusack,
Aye.
Doorley,
Aye.
Edie,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Montez,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
and I vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Block, Cusack, Doorley, Edie, Flores, Montez, Zop, and myself. The motion passes by a vote of 9-0. Regarding appeal number 21AA07, is there a motion to adopt the appeals officer's findings and conclusions and recommendations and to affirm the decision to disqualify the applicant?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
second, Michael Eady,
I will now call on members of the board for their votes. Wolf,
Aye.
Block,
aye,
Cusack,
Aye.
Doorley,
Aye.
Edie,
aye,
Flores,
Aye.
Montez,
aye,
Zop,
Aye.
and I vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Block, Cusack, Doorley, Edie, Flores, Montez, Zop, and myself. The motion passes by a vote of 9-0. The written findings and decision, each of the appeals on which the board took final action this evening, will be entered as of today's date, sent to the parties, and posted on the board's website within 5 days. Ooh, that was a lot. Next up, we have the first deputy who is going to provide the superintendent's report. First deputy. First deputy, you're on mute.
I said so much important stuff, it's not even worth repeating. But all right. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. Let me start by thanking all the members of the Chicago Police Board and Chicago's residents. It is all of your efforts combined that make the difference for the Chicago Police Department in serving and protecting Chicagoans and visitors every day. As you know, public safety is about more than protecting and securing the public way. It's about the personal sense of security in our lives. We shouldn't have to think twice about relaxing in our homes or driving around in our cars or shopping in our communities. These are the reasons why the Chicago Police Department's multi-pronged public safety mission has been rooted in collaboration. Throughout last year and since the beginning of this year, we have maintained a precision focus on taking down gang and narcotic criminal networks driving violence in our city. The department has cultivated successful partnerships at the county, state, and federal level as we zero in on vehicular hijacking, organized retail theft, and guns and gangs. Our joint vehicular task force is comprised of more than 24 law enforcement agencies across the Chicagoland area. Together, we conduct vital missions to combat vehicular hijacking, deploying resources on the ground and in the sky. We held a mission last week and will host another this week. We don't want to keep pace with last year, but we want to set a new pace for this year. In the vehicular hijacking missions we've led since the beginning of the year, we've already made 18 arrests, seized 7 handguns, and recovered 27 vehicles. All of last year, we carried out 14 total operations, which yielded 95 arrests, 25 firearms recovered, and 136 vehicles recovered. We are curbing vehicular hijacking. This time last year, the city had 325 carjacking incidents. Today, as of 24 February, we've seen 287 since the beginning of the year. That's almost a 12% decrease. We're also seeing progress as we address retail theft. The department is working together with retailers and small business owners and building key relationships. We know that theft is a never victimless crime. It impacts the bottom line of our countless businesses, the overall economy of our city, and residents and visitors' sense of well-being when patronizing establishments. That's also why we are glad to join the Illinois Attorney General's Organized Retail Crime Task Force in 2021, the first statewide public-private collaboration of its kind. The task force builds on CPD's ongoing efforts with local merchants while connecting us to important tools to stop criminals in their tracks. Using pod video and other resources, we brought several offenders to justice in January and February of this year, including one of the individuals that was responsible for stealing watches valued at more than $1 million late last year. We also apprehended a young adult who targeted major retailers in a string of smash and grab style robberies, resulting in more than $10,000 in stolen merchandise from Ulta and Sephora beauty supplies. Working with the Illinois Attorney General's office, we also made arrests in a comprehensive investigation into a large cargo theft operation. Chicago Police Department is applying the same level of collaboration with our city and federal partners as we combat guns and gangs in Chicago. We continue working with all city departments to address public safety as a public health issue because that's what it is. It is up to all of us to address the root causes driving violence and provide resources for our youth as well as hardworking families. And while we work to that end, our officers are working tirelessly to keep our streets safe and hold offenders responsible. We aren't letting up, and we hope that you don't either. Chicago's Police Department's gun investigations team works beside federal agencies to put an end to gun violence and gun trafficking. So far this year, we've seized more than 1,400 guns. That's 1,457 in total, with 651 this month alone. That's up from 466 at the same time in February of last year. In every example I've shared, collaboration has been the common denominator in the strides we made. It's why we remain committed to visibility, engagement, collaboration, and it's how we will improve this department and impact this city. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, First Deputy. Each month prior to the police board meeting, I typically have an opportunity to make sure I check in with the superintendent and with the first deputy. And so I shared something with them today, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it with everyone attending the meeting. So, you know, in my travels throughout the city, you know, community meetings and that kind of thing, I'm often approached by community members, and it's a hard time kind of for everybody in the city right now. And you know, we all read the newspapers and we hear the criticism about the police, but more often I get community members talking about the fact that the police are doing a good job in their community, right? They're not saying it's perfect and that everything is fixed, but they're thankful for the work that the police department is doing. And so I know CPD, you guys hear all of the criticism and never get to hear the thank yous. Well, not never get to hear the thank yous, but not often publicly get to hear the thank yous. And so I wanted to relay that to you, that the message does come to me, because I hear the complaints too. But I wanted to ensure that I passed along that, you know, the community members, I also hear a lot of thank yous and get a chance to hear about the good work that you all are doing. So please, you know, on behalf of the residents who've kind of passed it along to me, I want to share that with you all, and please share that with the members of the department.
We certainly will. Thank you and appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up, Jay Westensee.
All right. Hello and thank you, President Foreman. My name is Jay Westensee, and I'm a Deputy Chief Administrator with COPA. I'm grateful to be here with you this evening. I'll be standing in for Chief Administrator Andrea Kirsten, who sends her regrets as she'll be unable to join us. Before turning to COPA investigative statistics for the month of January, I think it's important to draw attention to yesterday's City Council meeting, during which City Council formally confirmed Andrea Kirsten as COPA's Chief Administrator. Under Andrea's leadership in the role of interim, the agency has continued to make considerable gains in its consent decree compliance efforts, address challenges related to investigative efficiencies, and find effective ways in which to engage and bring awareness to the community regarding COPA's vital role relative to police accountability and the overall public safety system. COPA is approaching its 5-year anniversary in September. Though we look back with pride on the progress the agency has made during its short existence, our focus is on enhancing agency stability and trust in the years to come. Specifically, COPA intends to increase focus on identifying and acting on opportunities to engage other city departments, staff and resources, and data to further the City of Chicago's coordinated efforts to build safer communities. With that, I'll turn to COPA's numbers for the month of January. In January, COPA received 365 complaints and notifications. Of that total, COPA retained 103 under its jurisdiction. Of the misconduct allegations within those complaints made against Chicago Police Department members, 61% concerned issues related to improper searches and seizures. As has been reported during prior police board meetings, Fourth Amendment related allegations remain COPA's highest category of complaints. COPA also received and responded to 2 officer-involved shooting notifications. The agency also concluded 4 officer-involved shooting investigations during the month of January. Regarding COPA investigations overall that concluded with findings in January, 53% of all cases closed had at least one sustained allegation of misconduct. That percentage mirrors the rate during the same period last year. Regarding revised COPA policies that address agency requirements under the consent decree, 16 finalized policies, largely addressing investigative operations, which are crucial to COPA's compliance efforts, are available on our website. In the coming weeks, we expect to have additional draft policies posted and available for public comment and review. On February 15th, COPA finalized the agency's 2021 annual report. Some highlights from that report include discussion on COPA's plans to launch its civilian COPA Academy in 2022, discussion on COPA plans to install a new video release and transparency unit. This unit will include 8 new staff positions within COPA that will manage the volume of requests for materials under the Freedom of Information Act by media and members of the public, while also fulfilling other requests for materials in accordance with city policy and executive orders responsibly. The report also contains summaries on closure of a number of significant major case incidents of great public interest, including the incident involving Ms. Nikita Brown on North Avenue Beach, an off-duty shooting incident by a CPD officer in Evergreen Park, and the on-duty foot pursuit and fatal officer-involved shooting incident involving Anthony Alvarez. Additionally, the report includes details regarding COPA's efforts to achieve 72% compliance of its consent decree stipulated requirements by the close of the year. I encourage those interested in additional detail regarding COPA's community engagement efforts, complaint intake and investigative outcome data, policy and research work, and training and professional development efforts to visit our website to view the full report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So just a quick question. So a little bit less than a third of the complaints that you guys get, you retain, and it falls under your jurisdiction. And then 60% of those are Fourth Amendment. So really, this is maybe a question for First Deputy. Obviously this is a challenging issue. What kind of training or what is taking place in CPD, to see that that we don't continue to see these numbers in the same rate?
Right now, we've revamped our train. Obviously, we're giving officers 40 hours of train per year now. So with the de-escalation training, which is a key factor, that's one of the components of the 40-hour training. But we're also sending officers back through First Amendment and Fourth Amendment training. That is critical to try and stem some of the offset, as COPA mentioned, for Fourth Amendment violations or perceived Fourth Amendment violations. So we've also partnered with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to help in presenting some of that training to our officers. So Kim Fox's office, the State's Attorney's Office, has graciously agreed to allow her state's attorneys to come in and produce that training throughout the city. So we're in the process of scheduling that right now. So we're doing a lot of different things to help mitigate and educate our officers to better serve the public through that.
Thank you.
As a quick follow-up to that, have you set a goal in terms of the percentage reduction in the next year?
We're looking at that to see for the training, how quickly we can get the train out before the goal. We won't know whether or not we're able to reach the entire department as swiftly. So it depends on how quickly we can reach the entire department to be able to calculate that goal. But we're looking into that as well.
Thank you.
President Foreman, if I might, I'd like to add that the department, regarding its constitutional policing module, has reached out to COPA and its policy and research division here, and we have provided feedback on their training module from COPA's perspective on what we are seeing in terms of trends and issues in our Fourth Amendment related complaints.
Great. All right, well, we look forward to seeing some continued improvement in these places, and we know that there's a lot of opportunities for improvement, and so glad to see that that communication is taking place and that the training is ongoing. Thank you. For the past several months, each month we've tried to bring a speaker to educate members of the public on a variety of subjects regarding public safety. This month, I'm honored to be the speaker. So I usually come here wearing my hat as the police board president. My daytime job, I'm the president and CEO of an organization called Emerald South. And we're focused on the southeast side of the city, thinking about economic development. And we're working on a program, and I'm going to share a little bit about that today. So the program is called Terra Firma, and it's a 5-year, $25 million initiative to clean, green, beautify, maintain, and activate over 200 acres of vacant land, primarily in the Washington Park, Woodlawn, and South Shore communities. To put this in perspective, 200 acres is the size of Disney. This program was based on a program in Philadelphia called Philadelphia Land Care. When they did this, you can see a before and after where they basically cleaned and beautified some of the vacant lands. Some of the results, including gun violence in these areas, were reduced by 29%. People's sense of mental health and well-being were reduced by 69%. There were employment and entrepreneurship opportunities, as well as about 10% of the sites were turned into new uses. So some of the anticipated outcomes that we're anticipating are mental health, physical health, reduced crime, increased land value, improved walkability, and environmental resiliency. We have some great partners, companies like Green Corps and Sunshine Enterprises, funding partners like ICEJA and Citibank. So we're thinking about adult workforce, entrepreneurship training, youth workforce, art and activation, and things like maintenance of the vacant lots. So some of the things we were able to do in last year, in 2021, employed 7 adult trainees and 44 youth trainees in green industry training. This year, we plan to train another 40 individuals, 20 youth and 20 young people. We were able to improve 27 acres of vacant land, both city and private land. This year, we plan on maintaining the original 20 acres that we worked on, plus an additional 20 acres. We held 6 community events in Bronzeville, Washington Park, Woodlawn, and South Shore. And we're hoping to continue that trend for this year. We worked with 4 local minority-owned companies, gave them over $400,000 in contracts. And so we're hoping to continue that. Re-engage community partners. So with COVID, a lot of people, they were in the house. And so we were able to work with 15 community gardens, either by providing labor or materials, or sometimes just getting out and encouraging the community to get the garden started again, many of which, because of COVID, went fallow. One of our partners is Green Corps, so we were able to work with 13 of their previous trainees and get them re-engaged. And this year, we hope to work with another 20. So the area that we worked in was primarily, we looked at our commercial corridors, so 63rd Street, and then along King Drive. So we were able to do 27 acres. This year, we're going to expand that 63rd Street corridor, as well as expand west. And then by year 3, we would like to go all the way to 67th Street. And so this is kind of the area that we're covering. And so again, one of our thoughts is that if we are able to kind of mimic some of those results that Philadelphia got, that we could have that same kind of results here. So our objective is to really kind of say, how can we take a model and scale it up? So we took a look at the city of Chicago and the violent crime area. So this is a heat map. So as you'll see, red is kind of the most crime, where you see violent crimes. The yellow is also, and then the green is where there's less crime. So we overlaid that with the vacant lots. So the way that we looked at this, there's 10,000 parcels of city-owned vacant land. It's about 1,300 acres, 1.5 times the size of Central Park. The communities with the most vacant lots are Garfield Park, Westfield, Garfield Park, Lawndale, Back of the Yards, Inglewood, West Inglewood, Grand Boulevard, and Washington Park. So it's our hope that as we do things like this, we can get an opportunity to work hand in hand with CPD, hand in hand with other community organizations. So the work that we've been doing so far is in the 2nd and 3rd districts. I had an opportunity to present to the 3rd district every Friday. They have a group of community members that meets with the CAPS team there. And so, some people like the fencing that we put up. Some people don't like the fencing. But I think that all in all, people appreciate the efforts that we're making. And so this is a model that we're looking at. I know I've been speaking with Reverend Edie about potentially modeling this on the west side and some of the areas around his church. And so we would be more than willing to kind of share what we're learning with some of the other community groups around the city, working closely with CPD in some of the areas where you all have some trouble spots, working with streets and sanitation. It's my belief that it's not just on CPD to solve our issues of public safety, right? It's on all of us. And so this is one little effort that we're making. We have some data. The study was done by University of Pennsylvania. So we want to work with some universities here in Chicago to try to see what efforts we can put in place and put our own little Chicago mild sauce on it to make it work for us. And so if there's anybody who wants any more information about this, I welcome the opportunity to speak to you about it. Thank you.
So on behalf of the president of the police board, who's too modest to do it, it was a very smart selection to have you speak tonight. And congratulations on a great project, and thank you for doing the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, you are to be commended, Mr. President. Phenomenal work touching all of the very significant areas of our city that requires all of the attention you gave it. So you are to be commended.
Gian, the funding comes from those companies that you mentioned, or the $25 million, or where does that come from?
Yeah, so our biggest funder right now is ICEJA. So ICEJA has had a RFP for a program called R3, and that's the funding that came from the marijuana tax. And so that funding is really to think about how to improve these communities that were really most impacted by the war on drugs. And so that's our biggest funder. We also got funding from Chicago Community Trust, Citibank, and so we're part of the reason why you saw the pictures is because I can tell people what the idea is, but when people see the actual people that are working, the lives that we're capturing, the stories of the neighbors, that neighbor who's been cutting that vacant lot for the last 15 years, we're hoping that we can go out and reach out to some of our corporate partners, some of those partners on Michigan Avenue, as the first deputy was talking about, right? To be able to show them the kind of impact that we can have in our community. So our plan is to raise $7.5 million for this year. Next year, the goal is about another $10 million. But all in all, we want to raise $25 million. We're working closely with the Obama Foundation, who's introducing us to some corporate partners. If you have any corporate partners watching CAN TV tonight, I would welcome the opportunity to present this plan to you. But again, we're only looking at a couple of neighborhoods right now, and this is a challenge for our whole city. And so it's first couple of steps that we're taking right now, but we had a really good meeting today, and hopefully we have another big partner coming on next week. Thank you. I will now call upon members of the public who signed up in advance to speak. To make sure that we have time to hear from all speakers, there's a 2-minute limit on comments. Our first speaker, Dejay Allen. Did I say that right?
Hi, my name is Dajay. Yeah, you got it pretty close. My name's Dajay, and I'm part of the Chicago Youth Council for Police Accountability. Thank you for having me tonight. and I just want to give you a report on some of the things that we've been doing. First, we have been interviewing police officers around the city, stationed at schools and colleges, and we're hoping to kind of step that up and maybe get some videos of it and start a social media campaign with that. The Chicago, our council has also met with Chicago's Crime Lab, and we have been discussing ideas and projects, and we are working on getting it on the ground and running. We have also been conducting community outreach for our panel series event that will be happening in a couple of months. It will include youth members, youth leaders, community members, community leaders, police officers, police leaders, as well as city members and city leaders. The goal for this panel is to create a community between police and youth to reduce overall tension within both communities. And we also want to work on inviting some members of the police board to possibly be involved in the panel series, whether that's as panelists themselves or just there to network and communicate and share ideas. That's it. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. And we really appreciate you all's continued support of the police board and your activity. You all are future police board members, so we want to make sure that you all continue to learn this process and stay active and stay involved. And so absolutely, when you all have events, you can count on us participating for sure. Our next speaker is Krista Noel. Ms. Noel.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to be really quick. I came on late, so I'm not sure if the follow-up with the Nikita Brown case decision was made, but haven't gotten any information on that. Don't know what's going on. So need an answer as far as that's concerned. 2, there is a serious issue within custody deaths within the Chicago Police Department, averaging about 2 per year. Have a serious problem with the treatment of veteran Irene Chavez, and another serious problem about the lack of information around what happened to London Marquez, and why, a pregnant woman would end up dead. And then 3, we have FOIA'd information on sexual assault and offenses and misconduct, whatever falls under misconduct. And we haven't really gotten an explanation of the information that we got. And we're trying to meet with the superintendent to get an explanation of all these 3 points that I've made.
Thank you. First Deputy, I know you probably cannot speak about some of these, but do you have any, or no, maybe it's Jay, if you have any update on Nikita Brown? I'm not sure which.
Right now, I don't have an update, but Jay.
No, I simply can reiterate that I believe we closed our investigation here at COPA on or about October 25th, and it's been in the post-investigation review process since that time.
Okay. And then as far as FOIA is a little bit of a kind of a challenging kind of issue. We deal with it kind of regularly. First Deputy, is it Dana that they should reach out to, or Scott?
Good evening, President Foreman. I can address this. We're going to have our commanding officer of the FOIA unit reach out to Ms. Noel to discuss the FOIA response.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Am I still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he did. And I told him that I wanted to meet with the superintendent as well.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard anything from him since I made that request.
Okay. Max, if I can ask you to coordinate with CPD and the commander from the FOIA department to make sure Ms. Noel gets the answers that she's looking for.
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker, Mr. Robert Moore. Max, what does Mr. Moore need to press in order to unmute?
Callers press *6 to unmute.
Mr. Moore, *6, please, on one of your phones. Mr. Moore, I can see that you're there. *6 on one of your phones. Mr. Moore, if you can hear me, if you can press *6, please. Mr. Moore, Mr. Moore. So unfortunately, Mr. Moore is having technical difficulties. So unfortunately, we are going to have to move on. At this time, all members of the public who signed up in advance to speak have been called upon. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Paul Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion passes and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Really appreciate. Wait, Mr. Moore, is that you, Mr. Moore, that just unmuted? No. At this point, the motion passes and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Be safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Aye.
Have a good evening. Good night, everyone.